In today's world, places are supposed to be accessible. People move freely around the country they live in, and even between countries. However, there are places in the world that, even today, are strictly off limits to just about everyone. This list explores 25 such places around the world that no one has access to. From islands inhabited by people who have no contact with the outside world, to super secret military installations, and everything in between. These 25 places are spread across the planet that many people consider so easy to travel to. But these places clearly demonstrate that there are still secrets to be had by governments and by individuals. Most of the places on this list are only accessible to those with the proper clearances, but some are not accessible to anyone at all, regardless of the status of the places on this list. If you are reading about these places, you do not have the proper access to visit them. The tantalizing status of the unknown and the secret makes these places remarkable. You will probably have your own theories about what goes on in some of these locations, and you may not have ever heard of some of the other places. North Sentinel Island has been inhabited for about 60,000 years by a tribe of people that have had virtually no contact with the rest of the world in that period of time. Because the fact that this tribe has had so little contact with other people, the Indian government has decreed that no one may visit the island for fear of a couple of things. First of all, these people have no immunity to diseases from off the island. In the 1800s, some researchers kidnapped people from North Sentinel Island to study them, and the people promptly died of disease. The second reason is because the Indian government wants to keep this tribe untouched. There is so little known about the people of North Sentinel Island because it is nearly impossible to study them. The fact that they have survived 60,000 years without being disturbed by the outside world is remarkable, and the government wants to keep them undisturbed by the outside world. There are very few people in the world that have no contact with the outside world, yet the people of North Sentinel Island are one such group. Therefore, it is not permissible for anyone to visit the island for fear of destroying this ancient civilization. Diego Garcia, British Indian Ocean Territory. Diego Garcia is an island in the Indian Ocean, and it is technically a part of the United Kingdom. However, in 1966, the United States secured the rights to use the island by canceling some $14 million in debt owed by Britain. Now, Diego Garcia is a US military base that no one is allowed to visit, home to 654 buildings and about 4,000 military personnel. No one knows for sure exactly what goes on at the base on Diego Garcia. In 2009, the United States military reportedly evicted several thousands of the island's inhabitants, and there was an outcry about what had happened to those people. However, in evicting the inhabitant, the island was cleared to be used for whatever the military wants to use for it, with utmost secrecy. The speculation about what happens at Diego Garcia includes a secret military prison on the landing place of MH370. It is known that Diego Garcia has been the launching place for military flights into Afghanistan and Iraq. The United States Air Force also operates a ground station for the global positioning system of Diego Garcia. Regardless of what does or does not go on at Diego Garcia, the public is not allowed to visit this outpost in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Carved 500 feet into the side of a mountain in Norway is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. The vault is designed to hold 4.5 million types of seeds, with 500 seeds of each variety. The idea is to keep seed populations safe in the event of localized disaster, but many people believe that seed vault is designed for a doomsday scenario in case that the world needs to be reseeded. Whatever the case may be, no one is allowed to visit the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Norway was chosen as the site of the Global Seed Vault because it is naturally a cold place, which means equipment do not need to be used to keep the seeds stable. Also, their relatively low humidity is ideal for storing things like seeds. However, probably the biggest reason Norway has chosen is because the world trusts Norway and the country is relatively safe, but does not stop the need for security at the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. Because of the need to keep the seeds safe, security is very tight at this location. There are no tours available and only the highest privileged people have any sort of access. This may also mean that there is more to Svalbard Global Seed Vault than actually meets the eye. Lascaux Cave, France. Lascaux Cave is a prehistoric cave that was discovered in 1940. What makes this cave so remarkable and that is full of prehistoric cave paintings? There are over 600 paintings, some 1,500 etchings, and a number of other figures and dots. The paintings show things such as 10-foot horse, processing animals, and other images from a period of time dating 20,000 years back. After World War II, the cave was opened to visitors who would come and enjoy the paintings, but unfortunately those eager visitors also did a lot of damage to them. The people coming into the cave destroyed the natural flora and fauna, which then led to fungus, then began to destroy the paintings because of the extensive damage that was done to the paintings. The cave has been closed to the public. No one is allowed to visit the Lascaux Cave except for those seeking to do archaeological research on the cave, and those people are very few. If Lascaux Cave were still open to the public, you would be able to go to the cave and view a piece of human history that dates back to some of the earliest people in Europe. However, because of the damage, it seems that the history will need to wait. The Vatican Library's secret archives is so secret that no one knows for sure exactly what is in them. The secret archive has over 50 miles of shelving housing of over 35,000 volumes of catalog documents, some dating about 1,200 years, and that is just what is known about the secret archive. Anything added to the secret archive is not removed for at least 75 years. That means that documents available in the rest of the Vatican Library is dated back at least 75 years. So, who knows what is in the secret archive from the last 75 years? Even though documents are routinely removed for after 75 years, there are things in the Vatican Library's secret archives that will never again see the light of day. Some speculation about things in the archive include letters from the Mary Queen of Scots, excommunication balls related to Martin Luther, and other priceless historical artifacts from the long history of the Catholic Church. And, of course, some of the documents in the Vatican Library's secret archives have the power to make and destroy that very same history. Because of the potential for ruining the history of the Catholic Church, there is very little possibility that anyone will ever see exactly what is in the secret archive. North Brother Island, United States of America. North Brother Island is home to Riverside Hospital, or what is left of the hospital. The state of New York purchased the island in 1885 in order to build the hospital. Riverside Hospital was built in order to house extremely contagious people with diseases like typhus, tuberculosis, yellow fever, and smallpox. During the World War II, the hospital was used to house military veterans. After that, Riverside Hospital was used to house heroin addicts. However, it is now closed, abandoned, and falling apart. Due to the storied history of the hospital, no one is allowed to visit North Brother Island, despite the ban on visits. Many people have tried to get onto the island to visit the former hospital. The history of the hospital, including its most famous guest, Typhoid Mary, makes for a huge draw for history buffs and ghost hunters for all over the world. Even if you were brave enough to spend a night at the Riverside Hospital, the state of New York absolutely forbids anyone from visiting the island. There are a number of theories that exist about why no one is allowed on the island. Is the island haunted? Are there still people in parts of the hospital? We may never know, while Riverside Hospital and North Brother Island are permanently closed to the public. Surtsey Island, Iceland. Formed in 1965 from volcanic eruptions, Surtsey Island is not accessible by anyone but the most highly trained scientists. There is nothing deadly about the island, so why does island only allow a select few to visit? That is a delicate and highly controversial issue. There is fear that humans will destroy the delicate ecosystem of Surtsey Island. This is some of the newest lands in the world, and it is constantly changing with new eruptions of the volcano. Scientists aim to study the new volcanic island, and so other people are not allowed to visit. New species of plants and animals are developing on the island, and it would be impossible for them to grow and develop if people were constantly interacting with them. The highly trained scientists who are allowed to visit the island know how to view these new species without destroying them. What is so special about the deserted island off the coast of Iceland that keeps the government and the United Nations from allowing people to visit? Poveglia, Italy. There are a number of rumors and theories surrounding the history of Poveglia, but it is hard to tell what is true and what is not. The only thing that is certain is that visitors are not permitted on the island, and for good reason, because if any of the other theories are true, no one would want to visit the Poveglia. The island was used to house plague victims in the late 18th century. Those people died, and that has led to the belief that half of the surface of the island is made of human remains. Later, Napoleon used the island as a weapons cache because it is so small and difficult to find. However, his enemies did find the island, and there was a bloody battle in the site. In the early 20th century, a mental hospital was opened on site, which was closed about 40 years later. All of this history has led to the belief that the island is haunted, with human remains all over the islands and massive Napoleonic battles taking place. The island of Poveglia certainly has seen more than its fair share of death. Plus, mental hospitals always lead to stories of ghosts and haunting. Snake Island, Brazil. Unfortunately, while this is one of the most venomous snakes in the world, it is also one of the most endangered, so there is no going onto the island to clear them out to make the way for people. But all it would take is one bite from just one of these snakes to kill a human in about an hour, and that is why Snake Island is forbidden for people to visit. Now, obviously, people have visited the island, but they are most scientists and researchers who are trained in how to deal with the snakes, and why you have want to go to an island filled with snakes anyway. Even if you like snakes, there are just so many on this island that it will make your skin crawl because the ground is crawling with super venomous killer snakes. Snake Island may sound like a cool place for a villain to have their lair, but even the most evil villain would be pretty crazy to try and visit, much less stay on this island. Everyone has heard of the secret US military base known as Area 51, but no one knows for sure what is there, and the US military wants to keep it that way. There are definitely plenty of rumors, though, about just what goes on here, some of which include aliens and UFOs. But one thing is for sure, whatever goes on at Area 51, you will never be allowed to visit. This secret military installation northwest of Las Vegas Nevada, has no official fence or anything to keep people out. However, there are a number of signs surrounding the perimeter, and those signs authorize deadly force for anyone caught snooping around. It is rumored that there are sensors surrounding the base that can differentiate between animals and people, so that animals may cross freely into the space that people are strictly prohibited from visiting. Even the airspace over the installation is restricted, with the only aircraft allowed to fly over being those that left the base. The allure of Area 51 is the fact that no one knows for sure what goes on in the middle of the desert. The theories that surround the military installation make for some pretty wild tales, but the truth is often crazier than the theory.